Look at the man you were supposed to be. Not the man you are today, standing in the shadow of your own excuses, but the one you envisioned years ago, the one who was going to dominate his field, the one who was going to build the body of a titan, the one who was going to master his environment and leave a legacy that would outlive his name. Now, look at the gap between that vision and your current reality. That gap is not the result of a lack of opportunity. It is not the result of a bad economy, a lack of resources, or a conspiracy of the universe against you. That gap is the direct, mathematical result of a single, catastrophic habit that has hollowed out your potential from the inside out. You have become a master negotiator with your own weakness. You are here because you have reached a point of profound internal exhaustion. You are tired of the daily debate that begins the moment your eyes open. You are tired of the internal lawyer who wakes up with you every morning, briefcase in hand, ready to argue with the eloquence of a philosopher why you should stay in bed for just 5 more minutes. You are tired of the rationalizer who explains why you can start the diet on Monday, why you should delay the difficult conversation until you feel more centered, and why you deserve a break from a mission you haven't even actually started yet. Today, we are going to perform a radical psychological excision. We are going to kill the negotiator and install the commander. I am going to show you why your internal dialogue is the primary source of your failure, and I will give you the formula to achieve the state of non-negotiable sovereignty. To understand the nature of this war, we must look at the mechanics of the internal bargain. Every time you set a goal, you issue a command. You make a decree. But the moment the time for action arrives, a second voice appears. This is the voice of the primitive brain, the amygdala, which views discomfort as a threat to survival. This voice doesn't scream, it whispers. It doesn't use logic, it uses comfort. It says, "We're tired today." It says, "The weather is bad." It says, "We'll be more productive if we rest now and double the work tomorrow." This is the internal negotiation. The tragedy of your life is that you believe this is a conversation between equals. You think you are weighing the options or practicing self-awareness. But you are not weighing options, you are entertaining a rebellion. You are treating a mutinous impulse as if it were a member of your high council. The elite man understands a law that the masses will never grasp. The mind is an excellent servant, but a tyrannical master. If you give the mind the opportunity to negotiate, it will negotiate you into a life of absolute mediocrity. It will find 1,000 logical, sophisticated reasons why you should settle for less. It will dress up your cowardice as self-care and your procrastination as strategic planning. You must realize that the moment you begin the debate, you have already lost. The moment you ask yourself, "Do I feel like doing this?" you have ceded the throne. Negotiation is the first step towards surrender. The only way to win the war against yourself is to remove the possibility of the conversation entirely. You must move from a state of deliberation to a state of predetermination. This brings us to the law of the high-voltage will. Most people treat their willpower like a battery that they can use to win these negotiations throughout the day. They think they can argue their way into the gym and then argue their way into deep work. But willpower is a finite resource. If you have to argue with yourself about waking up, then argue about what to eat, then argue about making the sales calls, you will be mentally bankrupt by noon. The Titan, however, does not use his willpower to negotiate. He uses it to set non-negotiable standards. He decides once, and then he never decides again. He doesn't go to the gym because he feels like it. He goes because he is a man who goes to the gym. The decision was made years ago. The case is closed. The court is adjourned. When the standard is set, the choice is removed. And when the choice is removed, the energy drain of indecision vanishes. We must also confront the siren song of comfort. We live in an era that worships the path of least resistance. You are surrounded by technology, marketing, and a culture that tells you that ease is the ultimate goal of human existence. This has created a biological softening, a rotting of the spirit. You have been programmed to believe that discomfort is a sign that something is wrong, that you are out of alignment. But the elite man knows that discomfort is the compass pointing toward growth. Discomfort is the friction of the old self being ground away to make room for the new. When the negotiator says, "It's cold outside," the commander says, "Exactly. That is why we are going. We are going specifically because it is cold." He doesn't ignore the pain. He uses it as confirmation that he is on the right path. He understands that the easy path leads to the hard life, characterized by regret and insignificance, while the hard path leads to the easy life, characterized by power and freedom. To break the habit of negotiation, you must understand the mathematics of the microfracture. Every time you make a promise to yourself and break it, every time you say you will do something and then negotiate your way out of it, you create a microfracture in your self-trust. You are teaching your subconscious that your word means nothing. You are training your internal nervous system to treat your own commands as suggestions rather than decrees. After 1,000 such negotiations, your confidence is shattered. You can shout affirmations into the mirror all day, you can read every self-help book on the shelf, but your inner mind knows the truth. You are a man who can be talked out of his own greatness. You have lost your internal credit score. You are a person who lies to himself. To get it back, you must begin the process of binary execution. Binary execution means there are only two states, commanded and completed. There is no middle ground. There is no almost. There is no tried my best. You must treat your own commands with the same level of gravity that a general treats a battle order in the heat of combat. If the order is given, the execution must follow with a cold, mechanical, and absolute inevitability. You must move from being a thinker to being a doer, and eventually to being a result. You must close the execution gap until there is no time for the negotiator to even open his mouth. This is the hallmark of the sovereign individual. This requires the mastery of what is often called the 5-second rule, but we will call it the 5-second command. When the impulse to negotiate arrives, when that first wave of hesitation hits, you have 5 seconds to move into physical action before the rationalizer takes over the cockpit of your brain. In those 5 seconds, you must move your body. You must get out of the bed. You must pick up the heavy phone. You must step into the ice-cold shower. You are physically outrunning your own weakness. By the time the negotiator has prepared his opening argument, the task is already in progress. You have won by forfeit. You have realized that thinking in the face of a command is often just a sophisticated form of fear. The more you think, the more you shrink. You must also recognize the theology of the standard. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your standards. A goal is a wish, a dream, a wouldn't it be nice. A standard is a non-negotiable reality of your identity. If your standard is, I never miss a Monday, there is no negotiation on Monday morning. It doesn't matter if you have a cold, it doesn't matter if you didn't sleep, it doesn't matter if the gym is closed. You will find a way to train, even if it's in your own living room, because missing is not a possibility in your mental operating system. You must build a fortress of standards around your life. You must identify the 5 pillars that you will never negotiate on your health, your focus, your integrity, your output, and your growth. And you must guard them with the ferocity of a wolf guarding its young. Consider the historical titans who shaped the world. They did not achieve their positions through balanced negotiation with their feelings. They achieved them through a single-minded obsession that refused to listen to the voice of fatigue, doubt, or hunger. When Alexander the Great reached the shores of Persia and faced an army that vastly outnumbered his own, he didn't negotiate with his generals about the possibility of retreat. He didn't weigh the pros and cons of sailing back to Greece. He burned the ships. He turned the possibility of retreat into a physical impossibility. He made moving forward the only biological option left for his men. You must burn the ships of your own excuses. You must reach a point where the idea of not following through on your word is more painful than the work itself. You must make your identity so tied to your execution that failing to act feels like a form of spiritual suicide. The world is full of negotiators. They populate every office, every coffee shop, and every social media feed. They are the ones who have potential. They are the ones who could have been if only the timing were better. They are the ones who talk about what they plan to do while they sit on the couch scrolling through the lives of people who actually did it. They are waiting for the perfect feeling to arrive, waiting for the alignment of the stars. But feelings are fickle, temporary, and untrustworthy. Feelings are the weather. Your standards are the mountain. The mountain does not move because the weather is bad. The mountain does not shrink because it is raining. The mountain remains. You must become the mountain. You must become a fixed point of reality in a world of shifting emotions. To develop this habit of non-negotiation, you must follow the system of incremental sovereignty. You start by winning the small, seemingly insignificant battles of the day. You decide that you will make your bed the moment your feet hit the floor. You do not think, you do not wait, you execute. You decide that you will drink a liter of water before you allow yourself to touch your phone. You execute. You are building the muscle of command. You are training your nervous system to understand that when you speak, things happen. You are closing the micro-fractures in your soul, one small win at a time. This is how you reclaim your internal credit score. Then, you move to the hard wars. You tackle the projects you've been avoiding for months. You engage in the conversations you've been fearing. You do the work that everyone else in your industry is negotiating their way out of. You begin to take a perverse pride in the hardship. You start to view the negotiator not as yourself, but as an enemy agent trying to sabotage your empire from within. Every time you crush the voice of weakness, you gain its power. Every time you execute without debate, you become more magnetic, more certain, and more dangerous to the status quo. People will start to look at you differently. They will sense the cold certainty radiating from you. They will realize that you are not a person who can be bargained with. The discipline gap is where your life is won or lost. It is the 3-second window between the impulse to do the right thing and the act of doing it. In that window, you are either a king or a slave. You are either the commander of your atoms or a victim of your biology. You have spent enough time listening to the victim. You have spent enough time entertaining the mediocre. You have given the negotiator a seat at the table for far too long, and he has eaten your dreams and left you with the scraps of regret. But understand this, the negotiator is persistent. He will not leave quietly. Even after you begin this journey, he will return. He will wait until you are sick, or tired, or grieving, or overwhelmed. He will wait for your moment of maximum vulnerability to offer you a deal. He will say, "You've been so good lately, you deserve a day off." He will say, "Just this once won't hurt." This is the test. This is the moment where your sovereignty is forged. In that moment, you must look that voice in the eye and say, "We do not negotiate." You must realize that the deal he is offering is a trap. He is offering you a moment of comfort in exchange for your future. He is offering you a break in exchange for your legacy. You must develop what I call mechanical persistence. This is the ability to function as a machine of execution when the human element is failing. When the heart is heavy, the machine still moves. When the mind is tired, the machine still moves. When the inspiration is gone, the machine still moves. The machine does not negotiate with the fuel level, it simply processes what it is given. You must become a processor of goals. You take a goal, you put it into the machine of your standards, and you produce the result. There is no room in that process for feelings, opinions, or debates. Think about the cost of another year of negotiation. If you continue to bargain with your potential, where will you be in 12 months? You will be in the exact same place, only older, more tired, and more cynical. You will have more micro-fractures in your soul. You will be further away from the man you were supposed to be. The cost of negotiation is everything. It is your health, it is your wealth, it is your self-respect, and it is the respect of the people who depend on you. It is a price too high to pay for 5 more minutes of sleep or a night of comfort. Riches, power, and mastery respond to certainty. They do not respond to trying. They do not respond to hoping. They respond to the man who has made his success a non-negotiable fact of his existence. When you stop negotiating with yourself, the world stops negotiating with you. The marketplace stops questioning your value. Your enemies stop questioning your resolve. You become a force of nature. A force of nature doesn't try to move a mountain. It simply is, and the mountain eventually yields. Look at your goals again. Look at the life you want to live. Those things are waiting for a man who is non-negotiable. They are waiting for someone who has the cold certainty of a machine and the iron will of a sovereign. The universe does not reward effort in the way we were taught in school. It rewards outcome. And outcomes only belong to those who have killed the negotiator. They belong to those who have realized that the internal debate is a luxury they can no longer afford. You have been a near miss for long enough. You have been almost great for long enough. You have been the king of if only for long enough. Today is the day the court is permanently adjourned. Today is the day the negotiator is escorted out of the building. From this moment forward, you operate on a different frequency. You operate on the frequency of the sovereign command. Stop asking yourself if you feel like it. Stop asking if the time is right or if you have enough information. Stop asking for permission from your own fatigue or your own fear. The order has been given. The vision has been cast. The destination is set in stone. Your word is now the law of your universe. When you speak, it is done. When you decree, it is manifested. The ships are burning on the shore. The smoke is rising into the sky. The retreat is gone. The safety net has been shredded. The only way is forward, through the fire, through the cold, and through the resistance. Kill the negotiator. Birth the commander.